So I thought about, okay, how can I make money online? There gotta be a quicker way than just going into a 9 to 5 and making 60, 70K a year. There gotta be another way. Supreme, Johns, anything that I could get my hand on and where I knew it was limited and I could sell it for like a higher price in the resale market afterwards. So I started doing that and I grew it over time, and I grew it to the point where it got pretty big, but then I would have had to register a company. I was like, fuck no, I'm 16 years old. I don't want to get into taxes, financials, bookkeeping, all this boring stuff. So I just cut the business, and then I didn't do nothing for like 1.5 to 2 years. And we initially started selling phone cases, wireless chargers, and that stuff.
To anybody watching, welcome. This is my friend Carl. How do you say your last name, man? Carl Weische?
Yeah.
Nice, Carl Weische. So welcome. I'm really excited to have you here. You're basically known as the CRO GOAT on Twitter right now. That's kind of how we crossed paths. So if you wouldn't mind, I would love for you to maybe introduce yourself and give us a little bit of a rundown on your journey to becoming the CRO GOAT. I'm trying to see how you got there.
After brother, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's a huge pleasure. So for me, basically, everything started when I was 15, 16 years old, when I initially started to get into psychology. So those were like the early stages. I initially wanted to use it for personal development and just becoming happier, more motivated, influence myself and stuff. So I started picking up all these books around psychology, personal development, like Tony Robbins books, all of the stuff that you read in the beginning, right? The Secret, Law of Attraction, and all this stuff. So I started reading those and I just really, really liked it and got really, really deep into different topics all around psychology, right? Started with wanting to motivate myself, influence myself, turn my life around, and then also influence the relationships that I have with other people, right? So books like How to Win and Influence People, stuff like that. So that's how I got started with the whole psychology field.
Wow.
And then also I was watching a lot of people like Ty Lopez, Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, Elliot Hulse, and all of these big people, right? So I started consuming their YouTube content and I was like, wow, all of them are so successful. They are so free. They can do whatever they want. They have a lot of money. I want to be like them. So when I was 16, I made a really strong connection in my mind between being an entrepreneur and then also having all of these perks, right? So this kind of formed in my mind. So I also thought about, okay, how can I make money online? There gotta be a quicker way than just going into a 9 to 5 and making 60, 70K a year. There gotta be another way, right?
Right.
So as probably every single one of us, I just jumped onto Google and typed in how to make money online. And then I started the research process.
That's funny.
I mean, you probably remember when you did it the first time, right?
Yeah, for me, it was with Ty Lopez too, man. That's pretty funny. He got so many people inspired to like do their own thing. It's kind of interesting.
And then I found everything from affiliate marketing to running SEO blogs to doing day trading to I think ecom wasn't that big back then, so there wasn't a lot of dropshipping, but all of that kind of stuff, right? And what stuck with me is because all of my friends were buying Supreme and Yeezys and were going crazy over those kind of stuff. So what I was thinking is maybe I can use all of this. So I started buying and reselling limited sneakers like Yeezy, Boost, 350, 750, 350 V2, Supreme, Johns, anything that I could get my hand on and where I knew it was limited and I could sell it for like a higher price in the resale market afterwards. So I started doing that. And I grew it over time, and I grew it to the point where it got pretty big. But then I would have had to register a company. And then I was like, fuck no, I'm 16 years old. I don't want to get into taxes, financials, bookkeeping, all this boring stuff. So I just cut the business, and then I didn't do nothing for like 1.5 to 2 years. And in my first semester in university, I was like, damn, I really got to start something again. So I started an online shop with a good friend of mine, and we also ran Amazon FBA. And we initially started selling phone cases, wireless chargers, and that stuff. And that's how I got into CRO, and now we kind of closed the circle.
Yeah.
Then I hired a freelancer to work on my store and help me with the CRO side of things, help me do copywriting, designs, and everything. And like I started working with him, and then it slowly started to connect the dots of conversion rate optimization is basically bringing together understanding of psychology that I already had and this like love of selling things online, right? It was just like bringing both worlds together, and I was like, holy shit, like this all makes sense. So this is really, really interesting because and you may know this too, when we read these books like How to Win Friends and Influence People, they tell you certain strategies, right? And then the next time you're at a marketing event or whatever, you try to apply a strategy, like use their name all the time, or do this, or look in their eyes, or listen more than you speak, or something like that, right? And you just apply these strategies that you read in these books. And sometimes it works, sometimes it takes some more time to work, sometimes you have to individualize it to the situation or whatever. But it was always that we could switch up the copywriting on a landing page and we would instantly see an uplift or a decrease in sales, for example, right?
Right.
So for me, it was like I can apply psychology, I can understand how the customer's thinking, like what the emotional stages and what thought process the prospect is going through. And then I can kind of tweak some things on the funnel, on the landing page, and then it would have having like measurable instant effect on their behavior. And for me that was like really exciting.
Yeah, when you put it that way, it makes it sound so much more interesting than if you just say like conversion rate optimization. Like that's very interesting, man. Super interesting.